Saraya Jade Bevis was born on August 17, 1992, in Norwich, United Kingdom, into a family where professional wrestling was not just a passion, but a way of life. Her parents, Ricky Knight and Sweet Saraya, were deeply involved in the British wrestling scene, running their own promotion and training academy, while her brothers, Zach Zodiac and Roy Knight, also pursued wrestling careers, creating a household where the culture of the sport was ever present. For Saraya, wrestling was not a distant dream, but a daily reality. Her formative years were spent watching her parents run shows, learning the fundamentals of performance, and understanding the importance of discipline and resilience. From the time she was a child, she absorbed the physical and theatrical sides of the business, gaining early exposure to the demanding lifestyle of performers. Growing up in this unique environment gave her advantages in training and understanding, but it also carried immense pressure as she felt the weight of continuing the family legacy while striving to carve her own identity. This early immersion taught her both the joy of performing for an audience and the challenges of maintaining stamina, confidence, and balance in a profession where expectations are constant. These years forged the foundation for her career, instilling a toughness and creativity that would later make her one of the most distinctive figures in modern wrestling. Rise through the independent circuit. By her teenage years, Saraya had already begun making her mark in the UK's independent wrestling circuit, competing for promotions like World Association of Wrestling, Progress Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling Eve, all of which gave her opportunities to refine her craft and explore her in-ring identity. Unlike many performers who relied primarily on athleticism, Saraya quickly developed a reputation for her storytelling ability. She knew how to make every match feel significant, how to connect emotionally with the audience, and how to shift her roles seamlessly between the hero and the villain. She combined the gritty technical precision of traditional British wrestling with a willingness to adapt to modern, fast-paced styles, giving her matches both credibility and flair. Promoters valued her not just for her skill, but for her capacity to elevate shows, generate fan engagement, and sell tickets, qualities that made her stand out in a crowded field of young talent. By her late teens, Saraya was more than just a local talent. She was recognised across the UK as a prodigy, someone with the charisma, adaptability, and presence to succeed on a much larger stage. These formative experiences gave her confidence, built her reputation, and provided the professional connections that would ultimately propel her to the global spotlight. Transition to WWE and meteoric rise. Saraya's life changed dramatically when she signed with WWE and was given the ring name Paige, marking her transition from local sensation to international star. She was placed in WWE's developmental system, first Florida Championship Wrestling, and later NXT, where the emphasis was on refining wrestling technique, mastering televised production, and developing a character that could resonate with a global audience. Paige excelled almost immediately, embracing the challenge of adapting her British style to the WWE format while showcasing her natural charisma and distinct persona. With her dark look, confident presence, and commanding in-ring performances, she stood out in a division often dominated by more traditional archetypes. Her rise was rapid. In 2013, she became the inaugural NXT Women's Champion, showcasing her ability to deliver standout matches that combined intensity, technical skill, and emotional storytelling. The following year, she made history on WWE's main roster by defeating AJ Lee to become the Divas Champion on her very first night, cementing her as the youngest woman to ever hold that title at just 21 years old. This victory was more than a personal milestone. It was a signal to fans and executives alike that women could headline storylines with the same energy, unpredictability, and excitement as their male counterparts. Paige's early WWE career helped lay the foundation for the women's evolution, the movement that redefined the role of women in wrestling, moving them from short, underdeveloped matches to complex characters capable of carrying entire divisions. Pioneer of the women's revolution. Beyond championships, Paige's influence was felt in the cultural shift happening in WWE. As one of the faces of the Divas division during a time of growing fan demand for change, she embodied a new generation of female performers who combined athletic skill with strong characters and captivating storylines. Her presence challenged stereotypes, proving that women's matches could be more than interludes. They could be central attractions capable of drawing ratings and emotional investment. Alongside contemporaries like AJ Lee and later the Four Horsewomen, Paige helped elevate expectations of women's wrestling, pushing for longer matches, higher quality storytelling, and greater respect within the company. Her style, which fused technical grounding with charisma and attitude, provided a template for how women could be presented as both athletes and entertainers. Even as the women's revolution gained momentum, Paige's contributions stood out as foundational, paving the way for future stars to thrive in an environment that now demanded excellence rather than token representation. Career-altering neck injury. Unfortunately, Paige's meteoric rise was halted by a severe neck injury that would change her career trajectory. During a live event, a routine move resulted in significant trauma to her neck, leading to spinal issues that required multiple surgeries, including a fusion of vertebrae. The injury ended her ability to compete in WWE as an active wrestler, forcing her to step back from the ring at just 25 years old. The physical challenges were immense, involving chronic pain, limited mobility, and lengthy rehabilitation. But the emotional impact was just as profound. Wrestling had been her life from childhood, her identity shaped around performance and competition, and to suddenly lose that outlet created a difficult period of adjustment. Yet even in the face of this setback, Paige remained a visible presence in WWE, taking on managerial and on-screen roles that allowed her to continue contributing to storylines and offering her perspective as a veteran. Her experience highlighted the risks inherent in wrestling, reminding fans and peers alike of the sacrifices performers make and the fragility of even the brightest careers. Though sidelined physically, her resilience and adaptability kept her relevant and influential, showing that passion for the business could endure even when circumstances forced reinvention. Transition, challenges, and resilience. The years following her injury required Paige to navigate a complex blend of personal and professional challenges. Adjusting to life away from the ring was not easy, as she had to recalibrate her career goals while managing the ongoing demands of public life. She faced periods of personal struggle, as many performers do when suddenly forced to step back from the adrenaline and routine of competition, yet she also used this time to grow. She embraced opportunities in commentary, management, and media appearances, learning to tell stories from a different perspective and using her visibility to inspire younger performers. What stood out during this period was her resilience, her ability to acknowledge difficulties, seek growth, and remain authentic to her audience. Rather than disappearing after injury, Paige remained part of the conversation, an ever-present reminder that a performer's value is not solely measured by in-ring time, but also by the wisdom, mentorship, and cultural shifts they help create. Financial pressures and career transition. When Saraya's WWE in-ring career came to an abrupt halt because of her neck injury, the impact was not only emotional, but also practical, bringing with it the financial realities that many professional athletes face when their careers are suddenly interrupted. Wrestling can provide lucrative paydays during its peak years, but it rarely guarantees the kind of long-term stability associated with other professions. And for someone who had lived and breathed the sport from childhood, this was a sobering realization. Saraya had to adapt quickly, drawing upon her experience, reputation, and the strength of her personal brand to safeguard her future. She approached this transitional period with a mixture of pragmatism and resilience, using her visibility to branch into other avenues that kept her connected to the wrestling world without requiring her to put her body on the line in the same way. Media appearances, podcast interviews, and ventures into digital content allowed her to remain in the public eye, while coaching and mentoring younger performers gave her the chance to share her hard-earned knowledge. These moves not only diversified her income streams, but also reaffirmed her role as an important voice within the wrestling community. What could have been a time defined by loss instead became a demonstration of her adaptability and foresight, showing that setbacks do not have to signal the end of a career, but can instead serve as a platform for reinvention. Her experience highlighted a broader truth for athletes everywhere. Careers must be managed with both ambition and long-term planning, balancing immediate opportunities with strategies that ensure sustainability even when the unexpected occurs. Returned to wrestling with AEW years after her forced retirement, Saraya shocked and delighted fans by announcing her return to active competition with All Elite Wrestling, AEW, this time under her real name rather than the page persona that WWE had built around her. This comeback was not just about returning to the ring. It was about reclaiming a part of herself that had been put on hold by injury and circumstance. For Saraya, stepping into an AEW ring was a physical and emotional triumph, the result of years spent undergoing medical treatment, strengthening her body, and rebuilding her confidence. Unlike her earlier career, where youth and adrenaline fueled her fearless approach, she now brought a more measured style, emphasizing psychology, pacing, and storytelling over high-risk maneuvers. This adjustment ensured her longevity while still allowing her to deliver performances that resonated deeply with audiences. Fans responded with overwhelming enthusiasm, seeing in her comeback not just entertainment, but a symbol of hope, that even after devastating setbacks, it is possible to return stronger, wiser, and with new purpose. Beyond her matches, Saraya embraced a broader role in AEW by mentoring younger wrestlers, offering guidance on character work, promo delivery, and the subtle art of connecting with the crowd. She became a bridge between generations, combining her lived experience with a willingness to invest in the growth of others, helping shape AEW's women's division into one of the most exciting parts of the company. Her return underscored an important lesson. Careers are rarely linear, and with courage and reinvention, it is possible to write new chapters even when the story seems complete. Mental fortitude and personal growth. The defining thread throughout Saraya's journey has been her extraordinary mental resilience, a strength that has allowed her to confront setbacks, adapt to change, and transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Wrestling had been her identity since childhood, and losing the ability to perform at a young age could have left her permanently adrift. But she chose instead to view her difficulties as catalysts for reinvention. She cultivated coping mechanisms that emphasized not only physical recovery, but also mental and emotional well-being, integrating therapy, reflection, and strong support systems into her life. This willingness to focus on her inner health allowed her to develop patience, emotional intelligence, and a long-term vision that extended beyond immediate circumstances. Rather than letting adversity define her, she reframed each obstacle as an opportunity to learn more about herself and to evolve both personally and professionally. Her openness in discussing these struggles added depth to her public persona, resonating with fans who saw not just the performer, but the person behind the character, a woman navigating challenges with honesty and strength. This transparency became a source of inspiration, demonstrating that growth often comes from facing hardship directly rather than avoiding it. By embracing authenticity and resilience, Saraya provided a model not just for wrestlers, but for anyone dealing with life's unpredictability, proving that setbacks can become stepping stones to greater strength and understanding. Influence on wrestling culture and legacy. Saraya's influence on professional wrestling extends far beyond her personal accolades or title reigns. She is recognized as one of the early catalysts of the women's evolution in WWE, a movement that transformed how female performers were perceived and presented on the global stage. By breaking barriers at such a young age, she showed that women could headline shows, deliver matches with emotional depth, and captivate audiences on the same level as their male counterparts. Her unique persona, in-ring ability, and fearlessness helped shift long-standing stereotypes, paving the way for the next generation of performers who now benefit from longer matches, richer storylines, and main event opportunities. Her contributions did not stop with WWE. Her AEW tenure has continued to demonstrate her commitment to elevating women's wrestling by guiding younger talent and advocating for storytelling that values character depth as much as athleticism. For emerging wrestlers, she is both a role model and a mentor, someone who has endured the highest highs and lowest lows and emerged with wisdom to share. Saraya's legacy is not built on perfection, but on authenticity and courage, qualities that resonate with fans who see her as someone who represents both the struggle and triumph of pursuing dreams against all odds. Her impact can be measured not only in her own success, but in the cultural shifts she has inspired, creating an industry that now expects and celebrates women as central figures in its narratives. For the wrestling world, she has become more than a performer. She is a cultural leader, an innovator, and a figure whose influence will endure long after she steps away from the spotlight. Ongoing endeavors and present status. As of 2025, Saraya remains an active and influential figure in AEW, while continuing to balance her career with a thoughtful focus on health, stability, and personal fulfillment. Her matches today are carefully crafted to protect her body, particularly her neck, while still delivering the drama and intensity fans expect, showing that performance does not have to rely solely on risk-taking to be effective. Outside the ring, she has embraced opportunities in media, content creation, and mentorship, building a diversified professional identity that ensures her influence stretches far beyond the ropes. Her story now embodies more than just athletic achievement. It reflects a holistic approach to life that values foresight, adaptability, and self-care. Fans continue to celebrate her not just for her victories, but for her authenticity, her relatability, and her willingness to share her journey openly. In doing so, she has become more than a wrestler. She is a cultural figure whose narrative speaks to resilience, creativity, and the courage to evolve. Her ongoing endeavors illustrate how a performer can transcend traditional definitions of success by embracing reinvention, pursuing balance, and finding meaning in multiple arenas of life. Conclusion. The story of Saraya Jade Beavis is ultimately one of resilience, reinvention, and enduring influence, beginning with her upbringing in a Norwich wrestling family, blossoming into international fame as Paige in WWE, and continuing through setbacks, injuries, and personal challenges that might have ended another person's career. Instead, each obstacle became an opportunity for growth, and each turning point allowed her to redefine herself and her place within the industry. Along the way, she helped transform women's wrestling into a respected central part of sports entertainment, proving that female performers could deliver at the highest levels of storytelling and athleticism. Her journey has not been without struggle, but at every stage she has embraced those struggles with honesty, determination, and creativity, turning adversity into strength and uncertainty into opportunity. Today, she stands not only as a wrestler, but as a mentor, cultural leader, and symbol of perseverance, embodying the truth that success is not measured solely in championships or accolades, but in the ability to adapt, inspire, and endure. Saraya's legacy continues to grow, rooted in authenticity and an unbreakable spirit, ensuring that her influence will resonate within wrestling and beyond for generations to come.